Welcome to the Council meeting on Tuesday the 23rd of May. I'd just like to acknowledge that the land we meet on today is the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and their cultural heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. And the Council pledge: we seek wisdom and understanding as we face the duties of our united task, praying for the peace and prosperity of our city. Thank you. So welcome everyone to the meeting. In particular, I'd just like to welcome Daniel Adams, who's sitting at the back. As part of our gallery, Daniel is our new Economic Development Officer based in Jennifer. So welcome Daniel to this, and welcome to the gallery as well. Welcome. Declaration, members of conflict of interest. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest? No, thank you. On leave we have Mayor David O'Loughlin. Apologies, we have Neil. Confirmation of minutes. I have someone to move the confirmation of minutes. Councillor Lee, would you like to speak to it? Councillor Harris, you got a second?
I did second, that's why I put my hand up. Would I like to speak? No, thank you. I should have stood up. No, thank you.
Someone else? All those in favour? Thank you. It's been carried unanimously. The Mayor's report on pages 1 to 2. Again, if you have someone to move that, that's a report that looks at both Mayor and Deputy Mayor's activities over the last month. Councillor moved. Thank you. Someone to second. Councillor Lee. Anyone else would like to speak to it? Councillor Barnett, you don't want to sum up. Thank you. All those in favour? It's carried. Verbal reports from council representatives in local government or community organisations. Anyone have anything to report? No, thank you.
I'll ask a question, then I will if it's right. It's not. Because we went to the, breakfast on Friday. Can we say something? No.
It's not a
meeting or something.
You could raise it.
I'll think of another way of saying something.
That would be great. Petitions, we have nil. Deputations, we have nil. We have one motion on notice, Councillor. Thank you.
So I'll just read this aloud as motion. Okay, so just like explain yourself. No, just read it. Okay. Okay, so basically I'd like to move that the Council Administration investigate the benefits of establishing a development application compliance policy, including service levels and resourcing implications for Council consideration no later than September 2017. Now, this has come about, I guess, I've been liaising with the staff, and I appreciate them for their assistance in wording this motion. As you may be aware, and you've probably seen the generic elected member correspondence coming through from our residents. There's been a number of incidents over the last, I'd say, 6 to 12 months. They might be from damage to infrastructure arising from construction, non-compliance with certain aspects of the building code, breaches of the Development Act, those kind of things. And I guess I just wanted to establish a degree of clarity for not just our residents but also the council staff. One of the points of confusion is at what point does our obligation stop and where does that of the state and private certifiers start. So this motion doesn't necessarily seek to resolve that issue, which is probably a bit beyond what this seeks to resolve to do. But what it does do is clarify our service levels in relation to our residents. And I think it's really important in this growth stage in Prospect, where we do have a lot of development going on, that there's a degree in confidence in the process around complaints handling and how that feeds back into our internal processes and deliver better outcomes for our community. So I'd encourage you to support the motion. Like I said, there's been a conversation going on, but I think September 2017 is reasonable, and I think it's also timely that we actually look at these processes as well.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there a second? Councillor Harris.
Sorry, you doing that? Yeah, look, I'm happy to second it, see where it goes and that, and a couple of the areas that I'm concerned about that comes, and the mover did point out, and I think it's a project that's just down off Prospect Road, how we keep getting things back that props not in. On my daily walks, when I go down places like the Cornu Street and you have a building project going there, and it doesn't bother me because I wear work boots and climb all over the footpath and can make it successful. But ladies with prams and things can't. So hopefully something like this and gives us a position that if we have things happening in our area, i.e. the footpath roads and those parks and those sort of things, that we have an understanding and a power to do things. So I'm more than happy to second it.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other speakers? Councillor Barnett.
Yes, I'd be interested in getting the report of that because I think particularly as we've been very busy, we're going to get even busier, I understand, with our the main roads, transport corridors policy and more buildings and particularly units, and quite particularly on Churchill Road. Sometimes it gets very, if you're a pedestrian along there, it can be a bit of a dangerous situation where you've got different, if you go for a walk along there and you've got to go, out here, on here, and all that because of the paths being blocked. There's another one that's been ongoing for quite several weeks now, blocking in Upper Marion Place. So the footpath's been blocked off and not being able to use because of certain building, or not building things, but changing the front yard and concreting trucks and, so I just think it'd be quite good if we could have some clear, well thought out policy that then if a resident particularly asks you as an elected member or we as an elected member, then most probably needn't go and have to take up valuable staff time. If we could just have something that's quite clear. And I think that we've always been a bit behind the eight ball in service staffing levels with trying to catch up on what actually happens with planning applications. A few years down the track, have they planted, done the landscaping they're supposed to have done? I see quite piles of around the place, and it makes me wonder, piles of our brick pavers, some of them are stacked up quite neatly, and I see them there for several months. So sometimes I wonder, well, should I be saying something or what? So that's why I'd appreciate having something like this.
Thank you. Anyone else wishes to explanation? So,
probably echoing the thoughts of the fellow elected members who have spoken. I think when I get contacted by ratepayers, there's an equal amount of concern regarding not only the outcome of the development that is being built, but also stuff that happens before it and stuff that's going to happen after it. Lack of compliance with road rules and parking on verges and work starting at 5 o'clock in the morning and all those kind of things like that. I guess the current example we've got with an ongoing conversation around development on Prospect Road, that whether it's the faults at our end of the development's end or whether the resident has got the wrong impression, it's going on and on and on, and it's taking up a lot of time which could be spent elsewhere. So there's two parts to it really. It's the end result and it's all the stuff that sits around it. So if we can work out a way to tighten that up, I think that's going to be significantly beneficial moving forward, not only to reduce people's concerns to a degree, but to be a more efficient way of operating as a council. So I support motion.
thank you. Any other speakers? No? Councillor Backer?
Just to sum up, again, thank you for the support around the table, and I think it's in line with our customer service strategy and concept improvement, and I think it just will give certainly the elected members and our community clarity around how we respond to comments and complaints and suggestions in this growing city.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. That takes us to questions with notice, the renewal, questions without notice. Are there any? Councillor Harris.
Got just a couple of little questions. The first one I was going to ask, and I believe the chair would have on the pulse, but I'll ask the question anyway. Is the deputy, or not the deputy mayor, the acting mayor, fully aware that one of our residents or former residents, and also one of our citizens of the year, youth citizen of the year, went onto the field on Sunday, and why it wasn't a big deal, because it should be any man or woman should be able to do that. The fact that she went out and proved it, I'm hoping you would say that you've already organised something to be sent to her or a letter. If not, could we do that?
Thank you. That's a very good question, Councillor Harris. Yes, I was aware. I wonder whether it would be appropriate under general business to raise a motion.
Okay. Thank you. We just got an email tonight, or I think we were copied into it, from director that's not here, and I think it was to the mayor about the Prospect Road and about the tree program there, the jacaranda in particular, that on the side and in the middle. And tonight's messenger, I got one tonight, sometimes you don't get it, but I got it tonight, points out that we look in a fairly good position for those that are happy to get a tram down the middle of the road. And to me, if we had a tram and we got to pull out another tree, that would be the fourth lot of trees in my time that we pulled out of the middle of the road. So my question is, would we hold off on any planting trees down the middle of the road until we had confirmation or whatever, either way, for the trams?
Thank you. I'll refer that to the manager.
Thank you, Through the Chair. My understanding is that there may be a couple of trees along the medians, but it's a very good point. I'm not sure exactly where the report is in terms of seeing the tram come down Prospect Road, but I'm happy to look into it further and provide some information in terms of those trees along the medians.
Thank you. Sorry. And most probably to the same director at the thing. I was privileged the other day, like yourself, to go and watch this man playing a game across down at Pardue Yeti, and I seen that art thing in the corner, a magnificent thing. Any chance we can get the lights working on it again?
That's a very good question. I certainly saw the council on the field. I'm not sure I saw the plane. But, maybe last. Sorry? Yes, right. I'll direct that to the manager.
Through the Chair, I'm not aware of those lights not functioning.
I wasn't until we...
So happy to look into that and organise that.
No, my last question, sorry, and it's just as brief, last council meeting, which then must be a month ago, that I did ask when we reported on the storm damaged trees, and there was that map with trees that were missing or not missing and all that, and amongst other things, but one of the things I did ask was someone send me a copy of that map, because in the paperwork it wasn't very clear, and I'm still waiting for that.
So the question was, will that be sent to
The
you?
question was the things I asked for regards to storm damage, but particularly the map, I haven't got yet.
I'll refer that on to you.
Yeah, through the Chair. So my understanding was is those attachments were included in the report. If there was an issue with visibility, I'm happy to provide that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
Any other questions about that, Councillor Baker?
Yes, so through the Chair, the 16th of May, Let's Members received notice that the Men's Shed expansion capital project will no longer be going ahead, citing some reasons. Now, it's quite disappointed to receive this memorandum, only because it seems that there was no public consultation done. There also doesn't seem to be any follow-up in regards to what's going to happen with the program or any assistance offered for that group to find their place within the City of Prospect. And I think this a really important program to do with, mental health and, people belonging in a space. And I just found that the sort of tone of the memo and the way it decided upon lacked any community consultation.
So there's a question.
A question, is there going to be any follow-up with Menshed with the community Department of Community Services?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Tobacco. The service of the men's shed continues in its location at Broadview. The issue is in relation to the actual shed itself and the ability to expand the shed. We are undertaking ongoing engineering investigations in relation to how that could be established. The purpose of the memo was to advise that we wouldn't be able to provide an extension to the shed in the current year as budgeted for.
Just to that, it did say that because the funding is to do with the Commonwealth Home Support Program, it will come to an end in July 2018, unlike the support program onwards.
Thank you for that. That is a separate matter to the extension of the actual shed. The funding is changing through the Commonwealth funding, and we will investigate how we can continue that service. That will be dealt with as a separate item for your consideration.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, we'll move on. So item 12, as per our protocol, we'll reserve those items called out by elected members. So I'll go through them one by one. 13.1 minutes of the CEO report development review committee.
I think that's the one I was after. Sorry, just that question. Is that where we done the review of yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll pull that out.
13.2 minutes of the audit committee meeting. 14.1 I'll pull out. 14.2 appointment of the acting CEO. 15.1 project update click. 15.2 the City Prospect Park collection management policy.
Next one.
15.3 I'll pull out because there's nomination required, as I'll do for 16.1. Again, we'll need a nomination at the start of that motion. 16.2, Councillor Larwood. 16.3, Councillor Larwood. 19.1, the legislative delegations. No. 19.2, the dog registration fees. 19.3, cash reserve.
Councillor, just clarification.
On 19.3. 9.4, membership of the CEO Development Review Committee. I'll pull out. 9.5, revocation of community land status, manual 3. 9.6, third budget review.
Yes.
Harris. 9.7, EHA annual business plan. Councillor Evans.
Sorry.
Annual business plan. 9.8, third budget review. So, and 9.9, appointment of independent member. Okay, so we're passing then on block 13.2, 14.2, 15.1, 15.2, 19.1, 19.2, 19.5, 19.7, 19.9. So I have someone to move that. Councillor Butt.
No, thank you.
Someone second. Councillor Lee. All those in favour? Those against? All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Councillor Harris. So we'll move on then to 13.1, the CEO reports to the review committee. Councillor briefly what I talk about.
Actually, just to move it. Might not even be what I wanted to pull out. So
Please go ahead.
I might have pulled out the wrong one. The reason I pulled it out and see I think it will fit in there is just so that we could actually say that we went through a review situation and the chief came up to the points we were happy with, and there seemed to be happiness between all of us and where we were going and the type of work that she is doing for this council in the last 12 months and hopefully to the future. So it was just more so that people think we just didn't dot and cross the T's, that we were fairly happy of where we're going. There's most probably disagreements, but I'll raise that with it later. But put that to one side. I wanted to move it to say that we were happy with the position our CEO's going.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Someone to second it. Councillor Lee.
Only to say that it's very exciting that we continue to move onwards and upwards under our, well, not so new CEO, she's been with us for a while, and that she has set the team well and everybody's working on excellent projects to keep us punching above our weight, so well done.
Thank you, Councillor Lee. Anyone else would like to talk to this motion?
Might not have been there.
Councillor Harris, would you like to sum up?
No, thank you. Just that let's please move ahead.
Thank you. We'll take it to a vote. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Okay, we move on to 14.1, the capital and operating projects progress report. I pulled it out just to take any brief questions before I ask someone to move it. So are there any brief questions?
Yes, I did send an email regarding the fact that is there another category that we can put in terms of the projects completed? Because I did point out that the projects completed still come under, I think it's green colour, which means they're ongoing. So that was just I haven't heard anything back yet about that.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Barnett. The report is a report generated through our existing system, so we will investigate how we can do that. Maybe a little bit more difficult than we had thought. I am looking at how we can represent the information in a clearer way for the next financial year. The other element of that is the project list does change quarter to quarter in terms of things that have been completed. They tend not to then be identified on the report. So if you compare a quarterly report, one quarterly to the other, you actually will see a number of different projects on the list. So this doesn't represent a full project list, and therefore the status of its completion isn't particularly clear. So we'll have a look into that for
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor Harris?
Yes, please. Page 29. Come down to place reference. It's 47. I don't know why it says 47. It's in not people in place, and it's the second one in front has got 47. Yep, the Galway, I should have said that, I'm sorry. The tree planting. The last sentence says the trees that will be planted in the coming 2 months and joining residents will be notified. Then I look at start and finish date, start 1st of the 10th, 2016, but finish date 30th of June. So it's just a question. So is the 2 months after that or the 2 months before? When's the 2 months?
Very good question. Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. The 2 months is May, June, so it will be completed by the 30th of June. The trees have been ordered, and we're just waiting for our contractor in order to place them within the median, and we'll certainly be advising the joining residents of that work. And we do anticipate the project will be completed by the 30th of June, as represented in this report.
So just before you sit in, so the job's a 1 month job, not a 2 month job? Or is it 2 months including buying the trees?
I'll refer that to manager.
So through the chair. So yeah, the project is for 2 months, and I guess the start date and the end date really reflect in terms of the planning that goes behind it.
Happy with that, thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor Becker?
Probably on the same point, 47, it says creating Tree Avenue an opportunity for sculpture. Has the community-wide arts network been consulted on this?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Becker. It has, and in fact the art network has selected a piece of sculpture to actually place within that project. I can't give you the actual placement. I think it's actually within the centre part of that whole median, not at one end. But there has certainly been a decision to commit funds for the purchase of a significant sculpture piece.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Sorry. Only on the same issue that made me think of when the director went away and it was explained that there was a good possibility or big possibility of the drain pipe right down the middle. He's going to come back to us before we've done this to say, is there a pipe there or isn't there a pipe there? So do we know that yet?
Through the chair, my recollection is that we did write a memo to all elected members explaining the location of the sewer drain. From my recollection, it's only a small section on the eastern part, so closer to the Enfield boundary side, and then it kicks off and it's right away.
I'm sorry, I didn't read it. My fault. I accept that. Slightly.
If not, I'll ask if someone's going to move.
Oh, yeah,
Just a spectrum.
no, thank you. I've done a bit tonight.
Someone a second, Councillor Lee.
Others today.
Thank you. Any other speakers? No? All those in favour? It's carried. Thank you. So that takes us to 15.3, the future of Austin Arts Action Network and Citywide Public Art Advisory Board. Just ask is, I now pulled it out because we have to do a nomination of a member.
Page 69.
So what I'll do is, so I'll just check with the CEOs, I'll call for nominations for that committee, I'll do that now, so we can maybe get that in the motion and then we can call for members. So is there anyone who would like to nominate for that?
In which one?
Which one's?
The city one?
The city.
They're both in.
Sorry, yes. Sorry, we'll start with the round table. So Mayor David Lachlan has expressed an interest in there, or one other Councillor Black. You'd like to nominate yourself? Councillor Lee?
I'll ask guys to do it. I will turn it into a vote. It's fine.
Anyone else would like to nominate for the round table? That's all.
No? I was going to question so I don't muck up. The one we're going to do after is regards the gallery and that, and this one's regards the general art right around the city. That's right, I'll wait to the next one.
So we have one nomination. Yes, okay, we'll move on. There's also two councillors to the nominations for participating in the Action Network. So I need two councillors to nominate. Councillor Harris.
Put that one. Oh, I nominate myself, sorry. In case no one else does.
Any second nomination?
Maybe.
Do we have a second nomination? Councillor Barnett. Any other nominations? No. Okay, so noting that Councillor Backer, Councillor Harris and Councillor Barnett have nominated for those three positions. So above, on the screen we should have the correct, motion. Once that's complete, I'll ask for somebody to move. Okay. So I'll call for a mover. Councillor Stanton, would you like to speak to it? Thank you. Seconder? That's all. Anyone else like to speak to the motion? No. Councillor Stanton, would you like to sum up?
Fantastic nominations.
Thank you. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried. Congratulations to the Mayor, Councillor Backer, Councillor Harris and Councillor Barnett for your contributions, for your future contributions. Item 16.1, the Urban Design Awards. Again, we call this out because we require a nomination. There's a position for one councillor to be on that committee along with the Mayor, Councillor Lee.
Yeah.
Anyone else like to nominate for that committee?
Thinking about it, but I don't know, is it a conflict with us being on the DAP?
Or their completed buildings? So we've got Councillor Lee who's nominated. Any other nominations?
Yeah.
You can.
I'd like to nominate.
Any other nominations? So, any other councillors want to be involved? We will take this to a vote. Can I ask a question? Yes.
Can there be two people?
A brief question.
Is there any reason why we couldn't have two elected members, considering this is a new initiative?
Yes. We'll just conferring on that. And the answer is yes, we can have two members if you choose to amend the motion. So,
Can I speak to my nomination?
When do you want the amendment moved?
We'll just work out if we have any other nominations first. So any other nominations for the design board?
If you had another one, then it could go to a vote.
It will go. Okay, so if there's no others, what we're looking for is somebody to move the motion, a different motion, which will. So
Move an amendment?
let's just hold off for a moment. I'll just get to see it.
No limitations through the chair.
There's no limitations.
So no limitations, so we don't have to make any amendments to the motion, and we're nominating at this point
Yes,
the Mayor, and Councillor.
yes. And I'd like to nominate if there's no...
To nominate.
What do you want to nominate?
Yes.
There's no limit.
Well, we will accept that. Councillor.
Oh, well, I'm still free. I better move the motion. There's only three of us
On
left.
that basis, I'll call it one more time. Any other nominations? Just so we're very clear. No? Okay, I'll call someone to move the motion. Councillor Harris.
I move the motion with making sure the inclusion of the three councillors. And I'm very happy to do, and hopefully they do a good job, and I believe they will.
Thank you, Councillor. Someone to second it, please. Councillor. Yes. Would you like to second it?
I'd like to second.
It's not speak to it. I'll make that. Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Rebecca.
Yes, so I think the Urban Design Awards are long overdue. I think it's a real opportunity for the council to be able to look at some of the examples in the city that are worthy of acknowledgement and putting the arm up as an example of aspiration. It's very hard within the development assessment panel and the planning team to point the finger and say, this is a good building and this is a bad one. We can't do that through the limitations of construction. So I think having, and this is why I sort of erred with myself and Councillor Lee being on the judging panel, because there's certain freedoms I think with other elected members that are not actually in the development assessment panel. Just as another couple of points of clarification, I was in discussions with the director in regards to who was nominating and the public's role in this. I think it's really important that our community have a voice in this whole process. So I'm just noting on page 82 that letters have been, 1.6, letters have been sent out to residents, landowners and designers and other information. Who specifically have they been sent out to? If I can ask.
Okay, there's a question.
Thank you, Acting Mayor, through the Chair. The letters have been sent to anybody that has done a recent development application that met the broad criteria that we had here. So they were sent out, anything that's been a development application in the last 2 years, we'd send a letter out to both the architect and the property owner.
And is that everyone, or have you already filtered that process?
Through the Chair, that was everybody that we could reasonably find. However, we've got a young architecture student on board, and she has actually gone through some more development applications as well, and we're emailing that out to those people who have lodged development applications. So we're seeking to get to as many people as we can who've lodged a development application and gone through with a development application in the last 2 years.
So just one more question, and again, I think it's just really important that residents are clear of their voice in this whole process. It says here on page 83, community involvement, residents, developers, designers, and the general community are invited to make a nomination. So is it true that someone could, from the public, nominate someone else as long as they get the owner's approval for access, I guess, to, for them to be nominated in this particular competition?
Yes, through the chair, members of the public can make a nomination as long as they get consent from the property owner, and that's for privacy reasons.
Thank you.
Just like to say something? Okay. Yeah, just following up on that, I'm just wondering how that process actually would work. So, for example, like if members, or the history group or the resident association or the Prospect Local Environment Group, how would they know how to get that information? It just seems, if it's all about privacy and everything, I'm just wondering, do we have a process for that?
Through the chair, what we would do is if we got an email or a phone call from a member of one of those groups or a member of the public who wanted to nominate a recent development application that met the criteria, then that officer who's managing this particular process would then contact the property owner and see if they wanted their building to be nominated, and if they did, then we would proceed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to the motion? If not, back to Councillor Harris to sum up.
Very happy, thank you.
Councillor, all those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. So we'll move on to 16.2, business incubator proposal. Councillor Lara, a brief reason why you put it out.
I pointed out that I would like to propose an additional clause to the motion.
Thank you.
I believe it's up on the screen there in red. So the additional clause that I'd like to propose is that the Intelligent Communities Forum best practice approach of linking business research, institutions and government is integral to the development of the proposed business incubator.
Just speak to the motion.
I will, thanks. Yeah. First of all, congratulations to Chris and his team, which may just be Chris, I'm not sure, but that's got more of a team now, for driving this initiative. It's a bold move by the City of Prospect, but it fits in with everything that I believe represents what we're about as an organisation, and as an organisation which represents people, stakeholders, businesses, and all those sorts of things like that. I think it's important to tie these types of ideas back to the framework that we're building within Council around the ICF, and it significantly responds to what one of the things that the ICF is all about, and that's the economic development, which is born out of the opportunities the NBN and broadband gives us. I think this it continues to put us ahead of the pack with regards to what other local government entities around South Australia and Australia are doing, and I think this positions us very well to continue to draw attention to what we're doing here in the City of Prospect. And so all of those ingredients go together to make this a good idea, and by tying it into the ICF a best practice approach, it helps reinforce what we're all about and the ground that we're making here. So I don't think I need 5 minutes to continue to wax lyrical about how good an idea this is, so that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Councillor. Do I have someone seconding this slightly amended?
Yes, so I'm seconding all 4 parts, or just the amendment. I think the presentations that we had at workshop, and certainly prior to that at a conference that some of us attended and actually spoke to the Commonwealth's project officers involved, and were encouraged to apply and go for this. So I think this is certainly the next step in what we're doing, along with the next item that's coming up as well. I think this this puts legs on the whole process. We've got an extremely a strong application and involvement with the Eastside Business Enterprise Centre, Eastern Regional Alliance Councils and the University of Adelaide. So I think this is an excellent co-working model that we've really been trying to strive for. And I think certainly it's the next stage when we had the presentation by the Mr. Jung of the Intelligent Communities Forum, and that was quite inspiring to say that it's no longer just being a smart city. We have to be part of an intelligent community as well.
Thank you, Councillor.
It's fantastic, and I think in more ways than just one. It's not just a big business incubator, it's about bringing together a whole lot of different groups into the one location in the city of Prospect to create great things. We've got a university as part of the mix now. That's fantastic. It's fantastic that we're collaborating across councils. It's fantastic that we're collaborating both with business as well as with structured institutions like council, and that we're creating opportunities for others to succeed and to achieve great things down here. And that looks different for different people. Some of us are able to express ourselves in art, some of us are able to express ourselves in music, others in literary work, and now in business as well. The fact that we're giving a voice to perhaps aspirational young business people or aspirational business people rather than those that have, say, been in business for a while and are able to support and sustain themselves is a really exciting and powerful thing. So this is great. It's a first. I haven't heard of a lot of these being proposed before. Some complexities for us to work through over the coming months, no doubt, as this actually starts to become a reality. But what a great thing from a policy perspective, and what a great thing to have some really top organisations wanting to collaborate with the City of Prospect. And just to make that point that it is collaborative, that it's bringing together learning institutions as well as those in our community that want to express themselves through business, and it's great to see. So that's
Thank you, Councillor. Now the speakers, I'll hand back to Councillor Love to start.
Just briefly, I won't repeat myself too much. I am looking forward to finding a suitable name apart from Business Incubator. And I'm assuming that's not going to be too far away before we start putting our minds to that, because branding is critical as well as the content here. So yeah, once again, congratulations to Chris and also to everybody around the table for supporting this program.
Thank you. All those in favour? Those against? It is carried unanimously. Excuse me. And we'll move on now to 16.3. Councillor Lara, would you also put this for a brief reason?
I've called it out because I'd like to propose an additional clause to motions. Oh, there it is. It's going there. So the additional clause reads, the Memorandum of Understanding of the University of Adelaide makes reference to the Intelligent Communities Forum best practice approach linking business, research, institutions and government to achieve greater economic, environmental and social outcomes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I probably only need 5 minutes because I'll be repeating myself. One of the things I have noticed with my involvement with the ICF is that the most successful communities that I've come across and been exposed to over the last couple of years all strive hard to get going what they call the triple helix. So that's education, public sector and private sector working together. So I think over the years, Prospect has strived to pull together particularly the public sector and private sector parts of that. But the thing that we've never really had is that relationship with the education sector. That's not necessarily tertiary, that could be secondary or any level of education, to be honest. But it is a consistent, successful theme to places around the world who have gone to be very, very successful, either reinventing themselves because they've needed to, or taking themselves from being good, which is where I believe we are, to being great. So that's the opportunity ahead of us. I think with any sort of relationship of this nature, there's an element of R&D that we'll need to go through in order to fine-tune the model. to get to know each other and work out what works well, what doesn't work well. But I think we've got the skills and the desire and the commitment to achieve that from our side of the fence. Chris has done a great job, again, of building that relationship with University of Adelaide. I suspect that we will probably also look at other educational institutions as well. But to kick it off with a small version of the model and to get that right gives us a chance to turn that into a model which we can then expand on. And it could be the sort of thing that we also continue to become known for around Australia. If there's that council in South Australia who pull together all these elements, and how do they do it, and how do they achieve so much success? So, if you could turn that into a business model and almost bottle it and sell it, then I think it's a very valuable commodity. I think we'll gain a lot by going down this path, and we can learn a lot from our fellow intelligent communities around Australia and around the world. And we look forward to taking this new initiative, or all the other initiatives, to New York in a week and a half's time, and really leveraging what we're doing here and bringing back as much as possible to help inform us and to make sure that we're steering down the right path.
Thank you, Councillor. Someone to second? Councillor Harris.
Just a brief comment, particularly on, and to echo everything Councillor Larwood said, and just with regard to where we're at, this is new ground for us, this is new ground for the local government sector, and to have a body like the ICF and best practice that we can refer to is going to be really important as we start to venture down this path. We're not going to be able to do it all perfect for the first time. There are going to be hiccups along the way. What those hiccups are, we don't know. Indeed, there's probably unknowns, as Councillor Larwood says, that we're about to have to face. But being able to do that as part of a supportive, collaborative global network is fantastic, and we're well positioned to do that. So again, to commend the team on having the foresight to be able to pull something like this together. Again, multifaceted, a lot of moving parts. Great to see in prospect, and great to see that we're really at the forefront of our game in terms of developing strategy and developing insights that's able to inform both our day-to-day planning, but also planning about our community's needs into the future, which is really exciting.
Anyone else wants to speak to the motion? If not, back to you, Councillor.
In closing, I think the last 4 or 5 words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to make that the last 7 words are critical to keep in the back of our minds here. So I'll just read them out again. So achieve greater economic, environmental and social outcomes. So we're not doing this because we've got a bit of spare time. We're not doing it because there might be a bit of fun and those kind of things like that. We are doing it to deliver those outcomes. The precedents that's gone before us with other intelligent communities who have gone down this path have demonstrated that we will achieve those outcomes, and that as a local government entity, that's what we're charged to do on behalf of our residents and ratepayers and other stakeholders. So I think these types of ideas are brilliant ways of embedding these sorts of outcomes as part of what we try to achieve, and it's going to make them a lot easier. So that's it. Also.
Thank you. All those in favour? Against, it is carried. Now move on to 19.3, RL Cash Reserve, extinguishment of right of way. Councillor Rebecca, brief reason.
Just a clarification. I see it's a technicality.
Sorry.
I just wanted to clarify in regards to how it happened. So how was it extinguished?
Do you want to move it?
I can move it.
Okay, we'll move it.
Yep.
Excellent. You move.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify how it happened. But 2, if there is resistance from the current owners, is that there would be risk assessment done against that?
First question.
Yeah.
To the manager.
Sure. So through the chair, this is really looking at, I guess, extinguishing the right of way for a part of the Langland Reserve. So previously, before it was part of the Road Reserve, and how it came to light is through a local resident who's in the gallery tonight, sorting out his own allotment details with his neighbour in terms of doing boundary adjustments, raised that with council some time ago. And I understand that he's been also discussing that matter with Scott McCluskey. So this is really just looking at giving the delegation to the CEO to deal with it. I hope that answers your question.
So you've got 4 minutes left if you need them.
Well, yeah, look, I'm just really just seeking clarification into, you know, is this intended? Is there some sort of risk in doing this?
Through the chair, no, I don't think there's any risk. This is historic, and we may have other areas across the city that might be fall under the same category. So again, this is giving the CEO the power to deal with that, or subdelegate that to others, and not bring it back through to council.
I'll just second it, Councillor Harris.
Yes. Unfortunately, I didn't have much chance to read a lot of minutes this week, but I was originally, when I saw it, I was happy to let it go through and still are. Because to me, it was, if some of us can remember, there was a road there and the road went and then it became a park and it happened. And so when I initially looked at that, I thought what we were looking at was turning a road by law into our park. And I still think that's the case, isn't it? So, no, because if you put it on your GPS in your car, you can drive straight through it. But you would get into trouble if you do that because you hit the swings. But so we're actually, is that what we're doing? We're no longer a road, now will officially be a park. Sorry, so there's two. So there's that question. You might ask the second one.
The first one already, but let's deal with it.
Okay.
So through the chair, yeah, it is to, I guess, extinguish that right of way. As I said, it has been historic. And this is really just tidying up and fixing up the title so that it's actually not classified as a road reserve.
Right. So that created and I'm happy with that, and that's why I'd still second it. But the concern I did come, particularly because we've got the residents sitting here, is that we do that, it doesn't interfere with his right of his own property, is it? That's where my concern comes.
Through the chair, not related at all.
Okay. Well, then I'm happy to second it, and it's a maze. I've been going for that park long after it was a road, and I only think I had one child at that time, but I'm more than happy to second it.
Any other speakers to the motion? No. Councillor Beckett? No. We'll take it to a vote. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll now move on to membership of the Chief Executive Officer Performance Review Committee. So this requires a appointment of two other elected members, and what I've done with the other similar items tonight. Just to remind you, Councillor Lee and myself are both appointed for the four-year term. We are winning. And the other two councillors, currently Councillor Harris and Councillor Larwood, were appointed at the beginning of this term for 2 years. That period has now expired, so we need to appoint two councillors. So I'll put the nominations for the board. There's any nominations for that position on the CEO Performance Development.
So who's on ongoing and who's...
Councillor Lee and I are both ongoing to the end of the term.
Yeah.
Councillor Harris himself. For the first 2 years, this is 4, entering the second 2 years, albeit this is come a bit late. Oh, sorry, and the mayor, of course, good point, and the mayor's also on. Councillor Harris?
I am open to listen to anyone else that would like to go on. If no one really has the desire, I'm very happy to continue.
So,
but I nominate unless I'm here someone else that's interested in.
I'll accept your nomination. You can withdraw should you choose to.
Okay.
That's all right.
I'll re-nominate Councillor Larwood.
So I will do accept the nomination.
Same as Councillor Harris said, happy to continue on if someone else wants to.
I'll accept that as your nomination. We have two nominations. Any other nominations of the committee? If not, I'll accept those two nominations. Thank you. Get those up on the screen as the motion, and I'll call for somebody to move the motion. Okay. Thank you. It's on the screen. I'll call for someone to move that motion, please. Councillor Barnett.
Yes, happy to move that way.
Thank you. Well said. Someone to second. Councillor Evans. Thank you. Any other speakers? There is not. Yes, it is carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll now move to the third budget review, which is 19.6 on your agenda. Councillor Harris, briefly, report about this.
Yeah, there's a good reason. I brought it out so I could pulled it out so I could ask a question.
Did you want to move the motion?
Yes.
So moved. Your time starts now.
But I'm willing to do it.
Your time starts here.
Okay then. Just to briefly go over to page 390. This is my question first, and I'll go through it to the 397, 1, 2, third dot point, replacement of storm damaged trees, 16,100, I think.
Just remind us what page you're on, Councillor.
397.
Keep going.
Yep. And so my question was, because I couldn't find what the 37 business in bracket was, and I didn't have enough time again. So my question is, does that replace all the trees we lost or some of them? Because if they're about $1,000 each, that's only 16 trees.
Either infrastructure or finance, whoever would like to take the call. Page 412.
I don't think they reckon $1,500.
Through the chair, yeah, I can't recall exactly how that number came about. I do know that it was reported through the council report, the second storm damage report, I believe. So I'm going to...
Thank you, Councillor Harris. So on page 412 of your council report, you'll see a table which has a set of numbers on the left side, 37 city maintenance. The explanation within that table indicates that the additional budget is to engage contractors in order to replace those trees that were lost during the storm damage. And I apologise for the size of the
Okay, yeah. No, look, I'm still going to move it. I'm still happy to move it. I actually marked that one to ask someone later on. I was going to go to Chris and say what was that for. So in the main, I'm happy with it. I know the mayor raised a problem or a thing about the situation with the town of Walkerville. I've read some of the answers that come back, whether people doing jobs and that. And I'm satisfied with that, and perhaps we should be doing more there than we do. So I'm happy to move it, and it'd take me 27 Sundays to read that little writing. So I'll approach someone and ask those questions afterwards. So yes, I'm willing to move it.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Someone here to second it. Councillor Evans, thank you. Like to speak. Anyone else like to speak to the commission? No, Councillor Harris, do you?
Thank you.
Thank you, all those in favour. Those against, it is carried. Thank you very much. And that takes us to 19.8, the Eastern Health Authority third budget review. Councillor.
Couldn't find anybody else.
Just to draw council's attention to something.
Would you like to move the motion back to?
So I guess just to say what I wanted to say, page 470, we'll see an amount of grants, subsidies and contributions, 27,000, equally the amount of employee costs coming out is the same amount. So effectively it's a no budget variance amount for March. Just to talk about what's actually happened here, though, it's the Meningococcal B program, and that hasn't been tabled with council before, and I thought it was worthwhile maybe speaking to briefly. So there's a program that the Eastern Health Authority is rolling out to schools in our area, that's discussed above everyone as well, to immunise against meningococcal B, and there's some new research being done into potential vaccinations that are now available. It has been funded to be able, or it has been funded to provide the service of vaccinating children in schools for that amount. It does happen over several years, though. We recognised all of the income in 1 year. What we're looking to do now is recognise the income in line with when the services are provided the corresponding liability performance return, which is the, paid up amount that hasn't yet been earned, hasn't really been brought onto the balance sheet. So there are a couple of questions still on this, but as a broad proposition around the issue of the vaccinations occurring in schools, I thought it was well bring to Council's attention.
Thank you, Councillor. Someone who's second the motion. Councillor Tony.
Yes, certainly. I think if you've read the reports as the other Eastern Health Authority Council delegate, along with Councillor Evans, I was going to say Councillor Tallis. I think we're, just really amazed at the breadth and the depth of the work that our Eastern Health Authority does on behalf of all our councils that form part of this, and particularly with the we're still, I think, working through the impact, and I think with our relative council people that are involved with this, with the SA Public Health Plan as well. So there's still ongoing work to be done with that.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Evans, do you see the need to sum up? Just to thank Councillor Evans and Councillor Barnett for the work that they've had. It's both involved in the committee, in the board, so thank you very much for what you do. I'll take it to a vote. All those in favour? Against? It's carried. Thank you. So that moves us on to Council Diary. There's a number of events there. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, no, sorry. I'm getting two. No, I'm thank you. That's okay. Taking advice, that's what I'm saying. So Council Diary, there's a number of events on the Council Diary. You'll see the grand finale of the 8 nights of summer, which is coming up this Friday night. Councillor Barnett, looks like you had a brief question to ask.
Yes, I do. Or just to bring to members and staff attention, item under Diary Dates 20.7, Prospect Eco Market. That is actually the Saturday the 1st of July, and it's 9 o'clock. Now, there's been a recent change to the time as a result of the survey that the Prospect Local Environment Group, who operates the eco markets, did amongst the stall holders and people. So it should be 9 o'clock. It still goes to 1 p.m. and it should be Saturday the 1st of July. And I think Prospect Local Environment Group did send through to Carer Council's administration to make that correction on the council's event calendar as well.
Thank you, Councillor Barnett. We'll make sure that happens. A couple of other events, we've got the footy, some footy matches there as well. It'd be great to see members on footy, meet with your local community groups. Crovis will be there this Saturday. And we've got a citizenship ceremony on the 26th of June as well. Councillor Harris.
Yeah, a question, because I think we're part of it. They're in the town hall, and I think we did get notified from someone about a white man and a black man at a play about tolerance. I mean, I'm not picking on one or the other about, and I thought it was through Carolyn or something that was part something we were doing. 7th of June sounds 6.
Yeah. We'll take on those and get some notification out to you.
Because I've been trying to find the information out for myself.
Yeah, we'll get that out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 21, general business. Are there any items of general business? Councillor Harris.
Things happen, I should stay home. The question I asked before about Eleni Gluftas, Eleni, not Eleni, and that. The council sent a letter congratulating him. Should have read up there before. I'd like to move that if I can, please. And something. Yes, I'm very happy to move that. Just briefly speaking to it, Eleni just didn't come out of the blue. She's grown up all her life here as a resident of Prospect on this side of the main road. Attended Nailsworth Primary through to Adelaide High, and I think she's outstanding for many reasons, not just the fact she umpired and got the first bounce wrong. I think she shows her parents of the attitude they have in life, and her attitude has been always to be equal with other people. So it's not just as a woman, it's also as a Greek person, and she had all those various problems that kids coming up. She's one gem. She got our Citizen of the Year, deserved that fully, and this is another step in her life that for her and the family I think we should be proud of, because it's our city that helped create the type of woman she is. So I move the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Councillor Barnett?
Yes, it's a great pleasure to second that. It did miff me slightly. There was quite a lot of really excellent articles about Alini and her successful career in AFL umpiring, and that one of them did remark to her as an Adelaide resident. She is a Prospect resident, a former Prospect resident. Now, yeah, so, and I think on my council Facebook site, drew attention to how proud we are of her and her achievements from a really lovely Prospect family.
Anyone else like to speak to the motion? Not. Councillor Harris has done that.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I've just been informed that we will be doing something with Prospect Magazine, the next magazine as well, just to acknowledge the very significant achievement.
Give you pictures when she was 3 years old.
Sorry?
I'll give you pictures when she was tiny.
Thank you. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Are there any other items of general business, Councillor?
The last one it's not going to be a motion. I left it to the end. Just what I said about Eleni, where she come from and Prospect and things like that, is exactly the same. My family and I come from here, and we'd like to really thank the staff and fellow councillors here that sent the messages, small gifts and whatever for my mother, and it shows how proud I am to have you people in my family.
Thank you, Councillor. Well said. All of our thoughts and prayers.
No motion.
Any other items of general business?
Cross the next one off.
No, general business of an urgent nature. No, thank you. Confidential items, we have one. And so just ask that somebody move 23.1 to take 6 minutes. Councillor Rebecca, thank you. Someone to second that. Councillor Barnett, all those in favour? Those against, it's carried unanimously. So thank you.